So that is uh, mm, that's an external validation. Yeah, and with the structure saying, "Oh, here's the validations."
Mm.
Mm.
Looking out there
Yeah.
rather than the inner in here.
Mm-hmm. And to some extent, I think our external systems dominate as a result of what we what we do too. You know, we might not recognize it, but something about us allows it.
Because we don't know ourselves, that no wonder, that
Exactly.
we are, behaving in a way so destructive, against each other.
Exactly.
And
We
we
just
look
take the time to
out.
get to know ourselves. Sorry, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're good. Yes, that's right. Like time to know ourselves because as we look out there, we see everyone else has what we don't.
Yeah, we
Allison, as
need.
you said, sorry, Chi,
No,
uh,
sorry. Go ahead.
we we see everyone else as special, as maybe not to the depth of they are a miracle, but really we are when we think about it. Each of
Yes.
us is the miracle. And when we can see ourself as part of that miracle,
Mm-hmm.
we're beginning that healing, I think. Sorry, Chico, please
Okay,
finish.
yeah, you're right. When we know ourselves, then we will know our fellow human being, that we all need the same basic needs, um, and if we know ourselves, we will not behave like that, in this sort of destructive way.
Mm-hmm.
So the healing journey is also a journey of getting to know ourselves.
Mm. Totally.
How does one begin to know their self? Now,
Mm.
we said earlier, right? It's like, oh, first thing is, oh, that's selfish, self-centered. But it's not. It can be done the wrong way,
Mm.
Mm.
done in a external validating way.
Mm. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because that's what the ego wants, right? The ego craves that external.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
So how does one begin to
Mm.
notice, become aware of what's in here?
Oh, that's the that's the $1 billion question, Chase.
One way is what we're doing here.
Oh yes, for sure. But how do you get somebody here? How do you get somebody interested
Mm-hmm.
enough? Right.
Mm.
But I
And
think, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna so and what do we do? That
Honestly, I don't think there's a shortcut to it, but the one thing that I do really think makes a difference is how you are in yourself, and people become curious.
Yeah. And it's we got to start, look into each other's eyes.
That's one thing, yes, for sure. But it's really interesting because you talk about that exercise, Chi, and I mean what you're talking about is just an ordinary exchange when you're talking to people that you look them in the eye. But it made me think of um, often when you go on retreats, what they do is they pair people up
Mm.
and you take turns and you have
Mm.
to spend 4 or 5 minutes looking into each other's eyes.
Mm.
And I was reading an article the other day about love and how subtle the difference is between an ego driven love and an authentic compassion love,
Mm.
authentic love
Mm.
in compassion. And this woman was talking about how often on yoga retreats, people fall head over heels in love with each other.
Mm.
But that head over heels, she was saying, that's your telltale sign. When that happens, you've got to know to take a huge, big step backwards and a massive pause. And it just reminded me again of how subtle the ego can be.
Mm. Yeah, because the ego can take refuge in our subconscious.
Yes, it's exactly where it goes.
Mm. And it doesn't serve us to have the ego as an autopilot.
No, it certainly doesn't.
And I think that some people are ready and some are not. We have to start with get grounded.
Yeah.
in order to start working with ourselves.
You know, Jesse talks about willingness, and I think that's the smallest, and yet it's not. It's the biggest, but it really is the beginning point. There needs to be a willingness and a curiosity for something different. And usually, unfortunately, what happens is people get into a very tight, pressured place, and they then think to themselves, there's got to be something different.
Yep.
And one of my girlfriends says people don't change until they're in enough pain. And I hate that saying, but it's very true. I don't think it's the only time that people change, but for the majority of us, I think that is exactly what happens. And, you know, we were talking about pain a few days ago, right? What if pain isn't what we think it is?
Mm.
And that's, you know, that's the upside of pain, as it were, is that it gives us an opportunity to review.
Yeah,
And
readjust.
then, yeah.
I circle back to like what do we do here, and I think some of the most important things for me, uh, like a practice, is like what's the one word, the feeling, what's the one word of what's in here. It's like that awareness of what is going on inside me, giving it words
Yeah,
is
that is
just
the awareness.
enough of that space to pause that automatic reaction.
Yeah.
That is so good. Yeah, that is the awareness.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
Not
awareness.
the story, you know. The ego wants to tell a story, you know.
Yeah.
Excuses, you know. So with one word, man, that is, yeah.
It forces everything to come in. It's like a filter, and we
Yeah.
really have to uh, look for what compiles into just that one word.
Mm.
And we create silence
To do
so that
that.
to do that, so like all these things can come into just one.
Yeah.
Now and then we say the one word, we say it out loud, and that's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then we're looking now the word is out there, so we went from an in here to out there. That word was in here, also like combined, blended into one word. We delivered it out there, and then the feedback loop comes in. It's like, oh, how did that, like did that mm, was that what I meant?
Mm.
And that's our feedback loop. Not what did other people do with it, not did they like it, not did it land for them, not did it change their life, not did it make me millions of dollars. Like, oh, was that my truth?
Yeah.
Mm.
Because that's the beginning of inner fulfillment. Inner fulfillment does not depend on external validation.
No, because it's got to do with authenticity and
Mm.
truth.
Mm.
the inner knowing,
Mm.
The inner peace. Yeah.
the
Mm.
inner peace, the inner path, the inner passion, the purpose,
Mm, mm.
the miracle, the inner miracle that we all are, that is just all it wants is for you to express it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly, Jess.
the healing is the journey, and then the living that miracle,
Yep.
Yeah.
fulfilling our miracle in the time that we have.
Wow.
That is our, sorry, I went on mute. That is our purpose, is fulfilling that inner miracle. And we do that through some form of self-expression.
Yeah, and it comes like that urge is from the same thing as that we're looking for the validation out there. So it's just the emptiness is part of like, no, that wasn't the right way. That's not the right way to look at it, but the free will allows us to.
Yeah. Words are energy, and words are like food for our mind, and it matters what food we put in ourselves, whether it's positive,
Absolutely.
negative, or neutral.
Yep.
Too much negative food, you got disease, and too much neutral, you don't get enough nutrients. You need positive food, positive thoughts. Like we need to speak positively to ourselves, like speaking with our yeah the a friend we have dear, a friend we love, and we're so used to see all these negative things in the world, and so
I was just thinking about free will, and it gives us, it gives us the opportunity to go either way. And what I was thinking about that was how important it is to be able to embrace both shadow and light.
yeah.
And then you you choose which one you want to nurture, but you don't try and banish either. It's like you have to put the negative stuff on a shelf. You have to give it a place.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way you don't have to spend your time resisting it.
Yeah.
we're not static beings, you know, we're dynamic, multi-dimensional beings, and
we're complex.
And complicated. But my point about it is that we need to, in some ways, we need to match that movement that we are.
Yes.
And then there's that part of us that with free will, that's where we get to choose where we're going to place our energy for the next step.
People will find themselves looking for something different, wanting something different. And then when something different shows up, they say, oh, it's not like what I would think it's going to be or what it should be. And so I'm just going to go back to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
that happens very often.
comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how we stay stuck. As someone who's looking for validation out there, what they need isn't what they think.
I was just thinking, just with you saying that it's not what we think. And my mind goes to that thinking gets employed so quickly. There's no chance for a pause and allowing. You know, there's no space for allowing the information to show up. And that's our intuition. That's using our intuition when we do that. When we take that pause and we allow our imagination to be the bridge to our intuition. And our intuition is the connection to a different dimension. that is part of us, but that we don't use on a daily basis, which is rather crazy. You know, I often think about there's this one example in the tech industry. So it was one of the first models of cell phones was the BlackBerry. And the guy that was part of the innovation of the design of it and then, you know, became the CEO of the company. So the phone eventually failed here in North America. And so, you know, to everybody's eyes here, well, you know, that was it. Anything but. And this guy went on to create many, many, many other businesses and support the growth of startups, and it's really been so instrumental in a pretty large section of, you know, of especially of cell phones, but just generally of the tech industry. And when the company started to fail here in North America, what he did was he started to plan the bankruptcy in such a way that the employees that were part of the design and the implementation of the phone, you know, so with the marketing and all of that, he made sure that they would have enough of a package with their dismissal so that they could start up their own small business. Now, there is I don't know of any other tech company that has ever done that. And this guy was very well known right from the beginning when they started out. When they got to a problem, he would call for time out and he would tell everybody, you're taking the afternoon off and you're going to relax and see what you come up with. But you're not allowed to think about it. Just see if anything comes up. And the next day they would get together and people would have contributions and then they would work with that. So I often think back on this guy. His first name was Mike, I know, because my one brother's name is Mike. I forget his surname. But what he could do for himself and for all of those employees, and it was a big company, it was not small. And the headquarters were here where I live now. And this town is known for all its tech startups. There's a lot of innovation that takes place at the universities here. There are 2 universities, and both of them have got a lot of, good, put it this way, good computer science degrees. And then there are colleges that also do a lot of training in computers.
Good morning, Cinderella. I was just thinking about you. Funny.
You dreamt me up. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me into this existence. Ta-da! How's everybody this morning?
It's good to have you, Cinderella.
It's in some ways it's good to be had. Yeah. I was like, it's kind of hypnotic to come into this space, to have a place where you can just like brain out to brain in.
You were just talking about the value of pausing and allowing through imagination and intuition, and how that reaches the fullness of what we are.
Yeah, let's just experience that fullness.
And how seldom we use that.
There's all of these. Oh, go ahead.
Did you see the chat, Central?
No, I had not. Yes, I do. External validation and inner fulfillment. Thank you, Jesse. What do we look for in the external validation? I think the quality of that is important.
So the morning started off, Cinderella, with Chi bringing in the importance of self-compassion.
Yes, that's real important.
And so that's how the tie-in came with external validation and internal fulfillment.
Did you say external validation and internal performance?
No, fulfillment.
Fulfillment.
Yeah.
Mm. I got, when I hear things that aren't said, it's still relevant. Um, external validation and internal fulfillment. External validation.
Good morning, Kailash.
Hi, Kylis.
Good morning.
Mhm.
External validation, internal fulfillment. Ooh,
Mm.
hi, Mom.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Oh, I feel like I just got in the middle of a hug and got squoze.
Right? I know. I know you love to hear that. It is so nice to start the morning. My mom. External validation. Are you talking about like the contrast or one leading to the other? Or depending on external validation for internal fulfillment, or if you confuse one for the other?
Ah,
All of that.
all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's a
good.
tough one. I mean, it's like very tied into like people pleasing, right?
Mhm.
Like if you can do what you think others is best for other people, then they'll be happy with you and then you'll be like a positive force in the world and then you can like be approving of whatever's going on internally.
Mm.
But in reality, if you are fulfilled internally and setting boundaries that like support your internal world, then you're going to be able to sustain your impact in the lives of the people around you. So you may not get that like immediate validation, but you'll see those relationships be like more fruitful if you can like maintain them.
Wow.
Wow. All of
Yeah,
that, right?
one is leading to frustration, and the other leading to inner
Yeah,
peace.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just talking about that with my brother actually, like
Mm.
being able to, like, he is so good with, like, he goes every year on a trip to Montreal with his guy friends and he'll go to bed like much earlier than everyone else. Like, for them, so much of the reason for the trip is to just go and drink and stay up late. And for him, like, he just puts earplugs in and goes to bed so that he can go for like a walk or run in the morning because routine is like, something that he does for himself, not to like appear any certain way. He does it because it feels good. And I was like, yeah, I really struggle to leave when there's other people who are like continuing to have the party to party on. Or like even having like substances if I have decided that I don't want to, if there's people offering to me, like I want to validate their choice to like participate and be on the same wavelength as them. And then, yeah, so.
Ooh, Kylis. Let's play. Let's
Yeah.
play. Play.
Ladies
Yeah.
champion. Yeah.
So, you know what it's like when you're at the party and they ingratiate you to stay
Yeah.
and partake, right?
Hmm.
You know what that's like, right?
Hmm.
Get into that feeling like right now at that
Okay.
point, right when it's offered to you, like,
Yeah.
yeah, the music, everything is like singing, right?
Yeah.
But then there's this little thing in you that goes
E.
like that little 0.01% that goes no.
Yeah.
But everything else is like, it's like
It's
used
like
to
I
responding.
have this like community and I'm included and I'm
Yeah,
like young and having fun. And then there's this part of me that's like, this isn't going to add to my experience of the night. This isn't going to add to these relationships, really.
right, right.
Like,
And
yeah.
who who there's this space like there's this space of you surrendering everything about you to the wind that blows
Yeah.
that keeps you there. You go, yeah, okay, okay, all right, thanks, man. Da, da, da," right?
Yeah.
You know that. You
Hmm.
know that. Like how familiar that is.
Hmm.
Your muscle memory, it just like takes over. It's like
Hmm.
somebody turned that history switch on
Hmm.
and you do everything and you don't even have to think about what's expected of you. You just like
Yeah.
you just like throw caution and everything else to the wind. And
Yeah.
then it's just like you're in a takeover,
Yeah.
right? Now, come on, now. You're standing still, everything stands still, right at the height of that.
Hmm.
And you go, excuse me, and you turn your heels. Imagine you turning your heels, and that is the point when
Yeah.
everything is at the height, and you go with the 1% just to see what it is
Yeah.
and leave.
I like that.
Leave. Oh man. And you get on the other side of the door, and then you get out the building and you
Yeah.
feel the air
Yeah.
and the breath and the breeze, and you're like, oh man, sock it to me, a new freedom, a new choice, a new
Totally.
adventure. I'm going home and I'm going to bed and be really, really satisfied
Yeah.
with giving myself this choice.
Yeah.
And then just imagine
I
the
like that.
place that you left behind.
Yeah.
It is everything that you've done that before. It's a
Yeah.
replay, it's a history,
Yeah.
and it depreciate you see how it depreciates the value of your future. And
Yeah.
now you're looking from your bed, you're like in your bed, you are comfortable, you are at peace, and you hear the chatter coming over your shoulder. What's wrong with Kyle? And you're
Yeah.
like, and you smile.
Hmm.
You just smile at it and you give yourself enormous space to discover and experience your life. Options. Oh my God. A good night's sleep, peace, options. Even proud of yourself, options. To choose you, the gift that you are to you. Wow.
Wow.
And the chatter of all the old stuff, and people like, yeah, some things will peel away. And somebody might even say, wow, you left the party early. Well, it's a good thing you did, or blah, blah, blah. Or,
Yeah.
that was different, and blah, blah, blah. And you'll hear all kind of external whatevers. And you
Hmm.
may not hear anything at all.
Hmm.
But in your heart, what do you hear?
Hmm.
Internal validation for internal fulfillment.
Yeah, it's true, because I did get like thank yous, like external, like a lot of validation for staying out. Like I had a birthday party
Mm,
um last weekend and it was so fun, but like the highlights of it for me were when the crowd was still there, right? And then I almost left with a group of university friends, but there were a couple like loose strands of people who like were planning on like still going on, including the host, like someone else hosted for me.
Mm,
And so I stayed with them and we like stayed all night and watched the sunrise from this like
mm,
high up condo. And it was, lovely, but really the highlight for me was seeing all of my friends mingling earlier in the evening. And I got all these thank yous from the people I did stay over with for like spending the night, like hanging out with them. But the effect on me was like, it, like I had just corrected my sleep schedule and it just threw it for a loop again. And it's like so important at the moment for me to try to build that consistency, you know?
mm,
Um, so it contributed to that feeling of like not being able to do what I know is like important and good for me. So, but I really like the way you describe it as like, I mean, I wrote down what you said, like giving yourself space to experience your life and like the freedom that you have to choose to follow the 1% that's wary of the automatic
mm,
choice. I really like that. I
mhm.
think that might be my delayed, belated New Year's resolution. Mm, yeah, and that can also go for, I mean, because that can be applied to everything, like even things that aren't necessarily involved with external validation. Like, I think external validation plays into, I mean, I'm thinking about, I've been trying to figure out how I can get myself to have more time put towards creative outlets because I know that it's like good for my soul and my brain and like a good way to use this time that I have while I'm not working.
Mm,
And it does contribute to like the healing of my brain. But I've just struggled always to like self-motivate for art projects, or do anything for myself rather than for someone else, or like to let myself be like kind of explorative really with it. Um, but I think that a lot of the reason that I struggle with that is that artwork for so long was a way to receive external validation.
mm,
So it doesn't feel like it makes sense to be doing it for internal fulfillment because that wasn't like the role it played in my life, which is so twisted. I don't like to admit that. People like are so disappointed if I admit that. They're like, oh, but I'm also like, this is a natural thing. And like, I'm talking about it because I want it to shift. I know that it can provide internal validation, but like, that has always just been a byproduct. I felt like it was selfish to do it for that reason, slash, like, I just didn't know how to do it for that reason, you know? So
mm.
now I could apply this, like, being wary of the choice I always make to that moment where I think, oh, I could do some artwork, and I go, oh, but I'll just chill out and, watch TV for a bit or like play a bit of my iPad game, be an iPad kid, because that's like a normal way to spend my time. To be like, you know what? There's a part of me that, there's this small part of me that really wants to just play and explore this other thing, even if it doesn't know where it's going.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, I mean, it is more fun. It's just that I'm scared of it because it involves frustration and self-judgment and stuff like that. Or like I assume that it does, but I don't really know because I hardly ever follow it. And I think like you're saying, like follow that opportunity for like the freedom to make that choice that I don't usually make. That's such a cool, it just opens up um so many more like paths in your life, if you consider all the options, including the ones that only a tiny, tiny part of you are
Mm.
really dedicated to, just to see what they have to offer, to see if they are more fulfilling.
Sometimes we go places and someone may ask us to go somewhere and we really don't have an expectation. We're just hanging along. We're going along.
Mhm.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So sometimes I just saw this movie. You may have seen it. It's called The War Room.
I have not.
Good movie, really good movie.
Okay,
I'll set this scene up really quick. So this
please.
lady was, her life was just like not sticking to or being what it wasn't being fulfilling. She had a daughter, she had a husband, and she was a real estate agent. And one of her clients was selling a house, and she had this room that she didn't show her first off, and then she ended up showing it to her, but she had to kind of set it up. And she said, well, what is your favorite room? And she said, I'll show you. So when she showed her the room, she said, well, what is this? It was her prayer room. It was like a closet that was a prayer room.
Cool.
And so fast forward, so then the real estate agent was like, I want more of what she's got in her life. So she
Hmm.
set up she just put a prayer on a wall in her closet.
Hmm.
And when she got there, when she went in, so she going into her war room. She didn't know what to feel, what to expect, or anything. And for a while, it was just a blundering whatever it was. But she made herself available to the place.
Hmm.
She made herself available to go into the closet. She made herself available to actually write a prayer.
Hmm.
And it still was all discontinuity. She was just like, it's like me going to a football game and I don't even know what team to cheer for, just not into it, right?
Yeah.
So she sat there, but she started making herself available to it and her purpose. Just, it out of getting nothing from it at all, time after time after time. One time her kid came home and found, Mom, where are you? She says, I'm right here. And she opened the door. She said she found her mother on the floor in the closet eating potato chips. Like, why are you in here, Mom? Just mommy's having a moment. Mommy's having I call it a mother moment. So
Cool.
anyway, long story short, she had to be present in order to allow what was going to happen to happen. So I just sit at the table with a sketch pad or some paints and some brushes,
Yeah.
and let your hand move with whatever is going to come about and whatever you feel, and not judge it. Let it speak to you. Let the canvas speak to you. Let the paint speak to you. And if you hear nothing, it's okay. It's all okay.
Hmm.
Because you got to make yourself available to what you want to be available for. And it will test you. It's not even a test. It's like, oh, you want to paint? Oh, you don't want to paint. You want to paint? It doesn't know. The universe
Yeah.
doesn't know how to serve you when you don't make yourself available for it.
Yeah.
When the external things keep calling you. So you just
Yeah.
like, if you got a hot date and he's like 20 minutes late, you still waiting,
Yeah.
right? Let's give that to
I mean, let's be
ourselves.
real. I'm the hot date that they're waiting 20 minutes for.
Yeah, that too. That too. That too. I
Sorry.
love that. No, go ahead, girl. But when that's even better. When you want to meet when you want to be the excitement that meets the excitement,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
it's so much more subtle when the feeling is deeper than
yeah,
superficial.
definitely.
So just one day you create just have a space where there's a pad and a pencil where your iPad is.
Yeah.
And then when you feel the unction, pick up the other thing just to see what's
Yeah.
going to happen. Because you never know what's going to happen
So
one
awesome.
day. You can have ideas of what's going to happen, but you really, the energy between two
Yeah.
people. What about the energy between your internal and your external? What about that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Explore, writing it down. The energy
Mhm.
between your internal, because I really like, internal and external,
Mhm.
the way you would between yourself and another person.
Mhm.
That's where that creative tension lies.
Yeah, and I love getting to know new people. That is exactly where I go to to fulfill that feeling because I haven't been making space to explore it in that way. And I think that if I were doing that, I'd have a much easier time accepting that I'm really not in a space to be dating right now. Like it's not something I need or want or am available for. But I get so much like excitement from it that I keep doing it and just giving like kind of mixed signals.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Would between yourself and I mean I'm messing up because I'm creating like I'm entering into things with people where there could be potential and it's just not the right time for me. Um, rather than just allowing them to be present in my life as they are and waiting until seeing if they're still there when I am in a better space.
Mm.
Hmm. Super cool.
So when you guys were,
Wow.
sorry, Kate,
No, go ahead.
when you guys were talking earlier, what came back to me was when you sit with that blank canvas
Mm.
and you allow that space for me is where we go into our intuition,
Yeah.
which is a different dimension. But we are multidimensional.
Mm.
It's just that we operate 99% of the time within our world, which is our 3D dimension.
Mm.
But there's so much more of
Well, it's like,
ourselves that we can use.
yeah, and I mean, I feel like if we're not using those other dimensions, then we're actually limiting our experience of, like what you're
Totally.
saying, we're limiting our experience of the three-dimensional space, right? We're like
Yeah,
stuck in, yeah, like muscle memory patterns.
exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave for my walk with my brother, I think. So,
I'm so glad you came, honey.
Yeah.
yeah, me too. It's
Hey,
good to chat
Kylis.
with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a link that I put in the chat.
Oh, can someone resend it? Because I don't see the chat from before I joined.
I just put
Oh,
it
you
in.
just sent it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Grab that, and if you want to, just play
Cool.
with that. And I think you'll see, like you said, there's some parts we overuse because that's the muscle memory that's been
Yeah.
played. And it will just do that, and you can reach out
Awesome.
directly or in the group, and we can talk
Sounds
more about
good.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start joining you guys more regularly again. I need to build a routine, so hopefully I'll see you tomorrow or chat with you tomorrow.
It's been wonderful having you. Have a
Thank
All right,
you.
Caroline.
beautiful walk.
Have a
Enjoy the walk.
great day and evening, guys. Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
She has such a blast of, what is it?
Mm.
Something is, that like that fresh wind that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
comes in. It's like innocence and vulnerability and just maybe an unidentified grounding that isn't it's established but not known yet. It's like, girl, you don't know how powerful you are. Oof.
I also, I mean, as her mom, I kind of step back and go, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have something to read again.
Okay.
Sandra, I think you'll enjoy this. So it was written by Goethe. He's a German philosopher.
Spell that?
Goethe.
Okay. I think I've seen it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sure you pronounce it differently, but this is best as I can come up with now. It goes like this. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. Whatever you do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it.
Wow.
So good.
Yeah.
So
Ignorance.
Okay.
Ignorance that causes so much pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Can you read that line again about ignorance, like maybe the one before it and after?
Yeah, let me go. I've got to go and look for it. Sorry. Yes, okay. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. And the truth is that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too.
So that makes me go back to ignorance. That's like the vortex decision there. When you're in ignorance and when you choose something else. Can you read that one part again about ignorance?
Yeah. There is one elementary truth, the
Mhm.
ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans.
Okay, right there, right there.
Mm.
Ignorance kills countless ideas. What is
It's the
what is
ignorant.
ignorance? Yeah, what is ignorance? What is the experience of ignorance that it can be caught at the point of decision of either being in ignorance or something or being ingenious, so that
Yes,
ignorance can't kill it.
that's right. And that's what's implied, I would say. And his answer to that is commit to something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you commit to doing something, providence moves. All sorts of things occur that
Right.
would never otherwise have occurred.
I believe that so the antidote here to ignorance is commitment of choosing something.
Exactly.
And I'm in this like slow motion, like get the lesson right now syndrome, but I can't just get the lesson. I have to experience the getting of the lesson. I've got to it's like I've got to really experience it. Like some people can like go in a class, listen to the lecture, study, cram for the test, take the test, and then pass. That's just, that's like regurgitating or producing information versus I'm like, well, wait a minute, what does this mean? What is this about? I have to like I can't just get it just for the sake of getting it. I it's it I want to know the truth or the experiential experience of becoming. And some things I can do like that, when I just get it done. But it has no real fulfillment for me when I get it done like that, when I just do it. And so I'm in this space, like this opportunity for everything, like all over the place, right? Um, do you just work for the mighty dollar, or do you work the work that gives internal fulfillment and impact? And some people are really motivated by money. And that's, it's important, to facilitate livelihood. But it just does not work for me. And having to be at a point of ignorance of, do you make the choice for the almighty dollar, or do you make the choice for the full intrinsic experience, not knowing what that is going to be, but yet knowing. And so I've been going through a period of time where I'm like shutting doors down, disengaging from conversations and places and things, and really narrowing things down, sometimes to just sitting in space of that one or two things. And those one or two things are very complementary, and getting such a zing of fulfillment when the commitment of that thing is applied and it actually shifts someone, helps someone.
Mm.
So, but the thing is, there's still my inner guide is telling me just continue to don't ignore your painting. Sit with your writings and sit with others, giving them space. And as I've been blessed to be granted time and space to do that in,
Make use of it, right?
yeah, and sometimes just sitting in the closet waiting, not letting other stuff in the closet.
Yeah, totally.
Because you can gather up a whole bunch of, stuff and busy stuff and hurrah stuff, it's not meant to be my stuff. It's okay to do window shopping on other people on stuff and not bring it home and put it in your closet.
Mm-hmm. Sandra, for me, what you were describing in terms of your process is the journey of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And as Kayla said, the one is so much more stable than the other.
But is willing to trust that other part that appears to not be stable, but is yet the foundation of who you desire to be. It's a great composite to who you desire. Like when your soul is calling you out on yourself.
Exactly. And our souls call us out so that we can get to know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that space is so uncomfortable, because it's the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until we become comfortable with the unknown, because there's a continual unknown.
Mm-hmm. Even if you stick with what you think is known, it's unknown.
There's that too, yes, for sure.
And the inner soul, for me, it's not gonna like hound you or harass you or keep following up with you, but it's always gonna be there. And you have to quiet everything else in order to hear it, because it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even going to start a conversation, because it's like you're not going to sit still more than a minute. To you is going to feel like an hour. So it's just waiting for you to be able to be still enough to really get more than high, and you get up and run.
Yeah, and I think that stillness is needed for the fullness of what there is to reveal itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really show up until the stillness, the value of the stillness is allowed to
Yeah.
ingratiate internal and external awareness of just space.
Yeah. I think so. Oh, I've had a wonderful morning again. Thank you so much. I need to go to prepare for a meeting.
All right. Well, wonderful day.
Yes, and you
Oh, have a
too.
blessed day.
Thank
Love and
you
hug.
all. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.